This is the 2-year follow-up of the 4x8 full shop workbench. We'll see how well it's held up over the years, and I'll discuss some of the most frequently asked questions. We'll review the vacuum system and dust collection. I'll get into the details of the electrical system, the casters, and some of the changes that I would make if I were able to build it all over again. We'll test out the infamous planer hose and see how far it stretches. In case you haven't seen the full build video, here's a quick rundown of what the workbench is all about. Each tool is plugged directly into the workbench and has access to the vacuum system, separated by its own blast gate. The workbench has a table saw, miter saw, planer, bandsaw, router table, jointer, and vacuum, all integrated into the design and can be quickly folded into place when needed. It's going. Oh man, it's stretching. Oh, we lost connection right there. So 2x4 for reference. I'll drop it back down just a little bit. Okay, here we go. Official measurement. I'd say that's about 3 1/8. So yes, part of your concern was valid. The hose only stretches high enough to let me plane something with a maximum thickness of about 3 inches or 7.62 centimeters for the metric folks. But I rarely ever plane anything thicker than about 2 inches anyways. So for my application, it works just fine. And if I had to plane something really thick for some reason, I could always just blow it on top of the workbench and then blow it out the door with a leaf blower. Each end of the workbench has a 4-square junction box to plug in the tools. This end is where I connect 2 extension cords from 2 separate circuits in my garage. In hindsight, I should have used MC cable, which is basically wires inside of small flexible conduit instead of Romex. But it works fine, and I'm careful with it. The vacuum is controlled by a switch at the end of the table. I did have big plans to connect an amp sensing switch to turn on the vacuum when a tool is in use, but that hasn't happened yet. The casters have worked out great, and I've got no complaints. I might end up connecting them with a piece of steel so you can press down on both of them at the same time, but that also hasn't happened yet. I just do them one at a time for now, and it's probably unnecessary, but I lift up on the workbench when raising or lowering it. I used a Home Depot bucket head vacuum on a bucket and then made my own dust collection out of a couple buckets. The dust collection works pretty great. Quick note about the bucket head vacuum, well, it sucks. But not as well as you might need a vacuum to. There are better compact options available now, if your budget allows. When I first built the workbench, the bucket head was a compact, low-budget option, which works, but more suction power is always better. I originally glued the 2 buckets together, but the glue didn't hold, so duct tape has been working fine ever since. The dust collection system has worked great, but as you can see, it's not the easiest to separate when you need to dump it, but as you can also see, I rarely dump it. If I had to recreate it, I would make a drawer that you could remove to empty the sawdust. It does do a great job separating the large particles, but of course the small particles of dust still make it to the filter. Well, thank you so much for checking out this 2-year follow-up of the 4x8 full workshop workbench. If you have any questions about the workbench or want to see a certain area covered in more detail, please let me know below and I'll do my best to answer your question. If you want to see exactly how I built this workbench, be sure to check out the workbench build video, and I've also got plans available on my Etsy store that I'll link in the description below. I've got big plans to organize this area of the garage, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the solution that I come up with. I promise it'll be good. Thanks again for watching, and if you enjoyed this video or like the workbench, please give it a like.